When Hyouka originally came out 6 years ago, I was starstruck by it. I found the narrative engaging and fun, and more or less binged the entire show within a couple of days. So 6 years passed, and here I am watching some videos on YouTube, and I realized something. I don't remember a single major plot point from the narrative. This is kind of unusual for me, as any of the shows I consider to be some of my favorites, I can generally list off every arc in sequential order. So why does Hyouka, one of the shows I consider to be my top 10 anime of all time, seem to not leave a heavy impression on me, narratively speaking? It had me quite curious, you could say. So I sat down, rewatched Hyouka, and understood exactly why. Watching Hyouka through the eyes of a filmmaker has completely changed my viewing experience. Hyouka has what I might just call some of the most technically impressive cinematography and character blocking in televised anime. So today, I decided I'd officially dedicate an entire video of me gushing about this show's use of those techniques. But first, a quick lesson in film lingo. Character blocking is a pretty simplistic idea. It's how characters move throughout the scene. Most anime just have multiple characters sitting in a room talking at each other, and that usually gets the job done. But Hyouka is different. You see, character blocking in the hands of a master can be an extremely effective tool when telling the narrative. It can say things about specific characters like who they're close to, who they dislike, and even what their current mental state is at. As for cinematography, this definition is definitely a bit looser. It's usually used to refer to the framing of a shot and how they correspond to others. Basically, what's in the frame, what's not in the frame, how the subjects are framed, and what comes before and after the frame. This is one of the best tools in all of the moving pictures art form that one could use to assist in the narrative, along with it honestly being one of my favorites. Hyouka is a master of using these tools, and it shows. The animation of Hyouka is also just downright gorgeous, but I feel as though that is merely a garnish to the already stellar cinematography and character blocking. So let's go ahead and take a look at a relatively subtle scene that I personally consider to be one of the best crafted scenes in the entire series. This scene is near the end of one of the major arcs in the show, the Film Club Mystery arc. Hotaro and Satoshi are on their way to school together when Hotaro asks Satoshi a fairly serious question. Is there anything in the world that you feel that only you are capable of doing? Satoshi quickly responds with no, and follows up explaining that he's not particularly talented with anything. His shtick is being a database. While being a great source for information, it is incapable of drawing its own conclusions. Thus, the conversation ends and Satoshi decides to go on ahead. But the scene has two different jobs. A major question within the narrative is being answered in this scene through the dialogue, but the cinematography and character blocking are telling a different story. It's foreshadowing a major conflict that will be relevant in the next arc, i.e. Satoshi's incompetence and wishing he really could be talented at something like Hotaro. So let's actually break down this scene's cinematography and character blocking and show how this is accomplished. Hotaro and Satoshi are walking to school together until Hotaro hits him with this serious question of, is there anything in the world that you feel that only you are capable of doing? Satoshi walks a little further so they are no longer in frame together. The scene instantly cuts back to a wide-angle shot, but only for a quick second to establish their distance from one another. When Hotaro asks the question, he is framed in a close-up, but he is intentionally put to the right side of the frame despite being to the left of Satoshi. The same is done for the reverse shot with Satoshi, where he is framed to the left despite being on the right side of the previously established wide shot. This is done to show that there is some tension in this scene that isn't spoken, that they are further away from each other than what we had previously expected. This is further emphasized by the following wide shot. It intentionally puts a pull between the two characters to show that they really are separated from each other, living in almost different worlds. The scene maintains these qualities until Satoshi makes a small jab at Hotaro to bring the tension down a bit. these end up being the only shots with the two of them not being separated or framed in an awkward way. This is only a quick relief though, as Satoshi intentionally tries to leave Hodoro once again, separating himself even further. Hodoro picks up Satoshi's true feelings and disagrees with Satoshi's own opinions of himself. Notice how in this scene the close-ups have been swapped. Hodoro is to the left of Satoshi and frame left and vice versa. This is to show that Hodoro has more or less understood Satoshi's feelings and is trying to console him, yet this backfires. The shot cuts to a wide shot once again, showing us that the two of them are still divided through the pole. And we get the final reveal as Satoshi attempts to put Hodoro's worries to rest as he smiles and blows off the conversation. Yet we get this cut, showing us the troubled look that Satoshi has in his eyes. Not once, but twice in a row is this shot shown to further emphasize the divide between them. This whole scene is incredible and was clearly meticulously planned out. By the way, if you want to watch the full thing yourself, it's episode 10 and it starts roughly at 6 minutes and 45 seconds. This scene was my personal favorite because it uses both cinematography and character blocking in excellent ways. And there are honestly countless scenes that have been meticulously crafted like this throughout the rest of Hyouka. Which leads me to my final point. Why did I not remember much of this anime? Was it because the show was forgettable? Well, honestly, no. The show at heart is nothing special, narratively speaking. It's a simple mystery anime with some rom-com elements thrown in there. But what really makes this show stand out is how the mysteries unfold through their use of these tools. I remembered most of the gorgeous scenes and how they were able to evoke so many different emotions in me without saying a word. The reason why I've always loved Hyouka wasn't particularly the story, but instead, how it was told. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the content, maybe consider subscribing. I upload once a week. If you're watching the video on the day it came out, I'm currently at MechaCon in New Orleans, Louisiana. If you happen to be there yourself, come say hi to me. I'll be walking around the convention floor, or shoot me a tweet and we can meet up somewhere. A huge shout out to all of my patrons. You guys are my heroes. If you're interested in seeing how I edit, chatting with me, or simply supporting the channel, I run a $1 a month Patreon to make that as easy as possible. Make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Manime Matt. Make sure you guys say, man, go watch that goddamn anime!